Thank you. Thank you for joining me. This is segment 5 of a Time for Cardboard Heroes here on Cardboard Meditation. Thank you for tuning in. I'm the big guy. And, one of the things that you always think of the 50s, other than maybe tail fins and the music, is the hairstyle. And when you see old pictures of the old days, no matter what time it is in eras, can you tell what era it is by the hairstyle? Well, nothing defines the 50s better than the hairstyles. It's because we grew up watching TV, and all those guys had the certain kind of hairstyles, and the girls had their hairstyles too. So we know what it looked like in the 1950s, whether we lived through it or not. They had hairstyles that pretty much captured the spirit of the times. Well, maybe with the exception of the ducktails and beehives. Man, it's a good thing we had 1950s baseball, and along with it, the finest cards ever made of some of the finest players to have ever played.
Those 10 years let us twist, they let us cruise. We found our rhythm in blue suede shoes. Leather jackets and slick back hair. You really had to be there or be square. We got lost in the 50s when everything was nifty, and a dime could buy the packs of cards. We had our favorite team. It was a golden decade, it seemed. 10 years still fresh in my mind.
Welcome to 1954. It was a year that educated Americans to the struggles of African Americans. Racial tensions were just starting to boil over when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against racial segregation in Brown versus Board of Education. Now, the events that followed over the next few years forced the U.S. to face its shortcomings, and that turmoil started to roil after the Supreme Court ruling. There were also other matters that started to become worrisome to a lot of Americans. It was the habit that most people engaged in at that time, and the Journal of the American Medical Association connected cigarette smoking to cancer. It took more than 3 decades to find out that the cigarette companies knew this well before the study made it available to us. Well, in baseball news, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League folded in 1954. The AAGPBL existed for 12 seasons, but attendance started to wane and league officials just decided to shut the league down. The American League MVP that year was Yogi Berra. The American League Rookie of the Year was Bob Grimm for the Yankees. The home run champ in the American League was Larry Doby with 32. The batting champ in the AL was Bobby Avila of the Cleveland Indians. He had a .341 average. And the pitching champion in the American League was Mike Garcia of the Cleveland Indians. He had a 2.64 ERA with 19 wins and 6 saves. Now in the National League, the MVP was Willie Mays. The Rookie of the Year was Wally Moon for the Cardinals. The NL home run champ was Ted Kluszewski. He had 49 dingers. The batting champ in the NL was Willie Mays with a 3.45 average. NL pitching champion was Johnny Antonelli. He had a 2.30 ERA and a 21-7 record. More baseball news. The Sporting News Pitcher of the Year was Bob Lemon of the Cleveland Indians. And the New York Giants beat the Cleveland Indians in the World Series 4-0. When I first started seeing Red Heart cards in my early years of collecting, I guess that would be the 1970s, maybe the early 1970s. I thought they were a candy issue. Like the candy you get at Valentine's Day, the little hearts, that have sayings on them. I thought that maybe that was something that they gave away cards for. But now I found out later it was dog food. I was really shocked that it was dog food. But in my later years, I really came to appreciate the merchants and companies that put value in promoting their products with baseball cards. I'm sure there's statistics buried somewhere that, companies that used baseball cards to promote their products enhanced their business, through that promotion. I'm sure it exists because a lot of them did it back in the 1950s. Now, it's no wonder that my dog absolutely loves Red Heart cards. This is Roxy. She loves them. Now, the John Morrell Company was the manufacturer of the Red Heart dog food. That's the big league dog food. Now, don't freak out, but this is the same company that manufactured hot dogs and created the cards of the Los Angeles Dodgers back in 1959, 60, and 61. Morrell meats from 1959, 60, and 61. Beautiful sets, I'm sorry. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to show some of the best-looking cards of the 1950s. And I don't think y'all get a whole lot of arguments from anybody. It's the Red Hearts. There were 33 cards produced in 3 different series. Now, 11 players represented in this set are in the Hall of Fame. Now, you might think that the cards were attached to the cans of dog food or maybe stuffed down inside the bags of kibble, but they weren't. You had to get these cards through a mail offer. When I was a kid, I hated it when I had to go through the mail to get cards because your parents had to help you out, and they just weren't as invested in the product as well as I was. Now, the 1954 Red Heart cards were advertised in Sunday newspaper comic sections throughout the summer of 1954. So all you had to do was buy a couple of cans of Red Heart dog food or maybe a couple of those 2-pound bags and tear off those proofs of purchase, stick a dime in the envelope, and then just mail them off and wait for your cards to come in the mail. Now, I want to show you something here. This is a book that I like to use a lot because it's very informative. It is the Consumer Guide of Official Baseball Card Collecting, handbook. And it says here, sorry about not getting to it right away. It says here, right here under the Red Heart part of this, it's just packed full of information. It says, one of the better kept secrets of the hobby was that until just a few years ago, collectors could still write to the Red Heart Dog Food Company and get an assortment of its 1954 baseball cards for just a couple dollars. Now, that trade secret resulted in a large number of cards being available today in top condition. Now, the book was published in 1988, so I'm not really sure when it says until just a few years ago, but I remember hearing back in the day that right up till about 1972, you could do that. You could mail it in, but I can't say that I know that for a fact. Now, there are some short prints. Sorry about that. There are some short prints. Richie Ashburn, Frankie Baumholtz, Carl Erskine, Jim Hegan, Ralph Kiner, Ted Kluszewski, Bob Lemon, Gil McDougall, Stan Musial, Al Rosen, and Red Shandies are the short prints from this series. Now, everybody that I know loves these cards, and I think it's got a lot to do with the Morrell Meat Company employed painters, artists, to take black and white photographs and enhance them. And it just made these cards look absolutely beautiful. Now, the key card is, of course, the Mantle, as he is in every set from that era. And Spahn, Snyder, Ashburn are also represented, and they're beautiful cards. We're going to show you some in just a minute, part of my collection. Now, here's an interesting fact. Mickey Mantle didn't have a card in 1954 in the top set, and neither did Stan Musial. So if you wanted them, you had to buy some dog food and wait for it to come in the mail. And Stan Musial, he was the marketing guy, the spokesperson who was in all the advertisement in the Sunday comics. And I'll show you another ad here too. Notice this one ad here with the can wrapper has Mickey Mantle up in the left-hand corner. So as you can imagine, these cards can be expensive if you're going to collect these guys in high grade. And if so, you are going to pay. But if you want to collect them ungraded, they're affordable still. But just try finding a Mantle that's ungraded. It's nearly impossible. Okay, let's take a look at some of these. Here is Hank Bauer. Oh, and I didn't say that the backgrounds, there's 3 different background colors. There's green, red, and blue. And I think that's just in this 3 separate series, they were separated by the colors. So this is green, as you can tell. Here's a blue one, and it's one of my favorites. It's a Detroit Tiger, Harvey Keene, before he got sent off to Cleveland. Here's a red one. The New York Yankees were red, I think. No, because Mantle's blue. But anyway, Gil McDougall. Billy Pierce. It's one of my favorites too. Warren Spahn, Hall of Famer. Chicago White Sox seem to be represented well in this set. Here's Ferris Fane. And Sammy White. Eddie Yost. And if you want to see something really, really beautiful, there are several, I'm saying up to maybe 3 that I can remember, 3 other YouTubers that have complete sets that they've lined up in color. And that is the way to look at this set. That is the way to view it. It's just a gorgeous set when they're all lined up in color. I don't know if that alignment is also with the numbers. I don't think it is. I don't even think these are numbered. At any rate, you should see them in the color formation. It's really a beautiful set. Did I say that was Eddie Yost? That's Eddie Yost. Here's Dee Fondy. Cleveland superstar Al Rosen. Here is Bob Lemon, another beautiful card, all red. And I guess my favorite color is red. And I don't have the card here, but you've seen it already, represented in some of the video that I've shown. But the Richie Ashburn card, because he's red, he's got his red uniform and our uniform that has red on it, and that red background, along with the Stan Musial card with the red background, they are striking. Here's Minnie Minoso. Nice card. Frankie Baumholtz. Gus Bell. And my last card is Enos Slaughter. He's not in great shape, but he's still in my set and I love him. Like I said, you can get these cards ungraded at a pretty good price. And they're from the 50s. And I say that as though you didn't know. But when you can purchase cards that are of a set like this, a very desirable set, and you can get them for under $20 a piece. And some of the commons, I'm not kidding you, are $20 or less. You just have to search around for them because a lot of people now are hiking prices up, not because anything else other than reflecting that, other than just greed. You can find them, and they are a lot of fun to collect. The set is small, so it's really a neat set to collect. And if you're into singles, every team is represented in here. Some of them only have 2 cards, teams. Some of them have more, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful set, and I think you'd enjoy collecting these. All right, I hope you enjoyed a time for Cardboard Heroes today. The next episode will be the 1955 Bowman cards. You know, the ones that look like little TV sets? Yeah, one of my favorite sets. And we will go over those cards and pick apart the 1950s once again. And I appreciate you tuning in. So can I ask you a favor? Can you like and subscribe and comment? Especially comment. I'd love to know what you're thinking. Here's the deal. If I don't get comments, if I don't get likes, they're going to put me back on the bench. I don't need to be on the bench. Talk soon.
Cardboard meditation helps set your mind right. Thank you for watching. Show us your appreciation by clicking the like and subscribe button. Ring the bell while you're at it so you'll know when we upload a new story.